guys, welcome to Mara Makes. On our last show, we made bourbon pecan chocolate chip banana bread, and it was amazing. And guess what? It's gone. So I wanted to make some more. But this time, we have some friends and family who are vegan, and they wanted to get in on the fun too. I mean, who can blame them? So I took the recipe and I adapted it. Not only is it vegan, but it's also gluten-free and refined sugar-free. While it is a little bit healthier, I promise you it's just as delicious. Don't believe me? Let me show you. All right, let's get started. All right, let's go over our ingredients. To start, we're gonna be using 4 super ripe bananas. So if you have those bananas in your pantry that are brown, borderline black, and you think you should throw them out, no, don't throw them out, use them for this recipe. I actually used frozen bananas that I defrosted. This is actually really great because when they defrosted, so it's extra liquidy, which is really good for our recipe today, and I'll get into why when we go over our flours. I also have 1/3 cup and 1/8 cup of coconut oil. This is measured and then melted. Just to be clear, sometimes I know that's confusing with recipes. I measured out solid coconut oil and then I melted it. Applesauce, organic unsweetened applesauce. I have 1/4 a cup here. It's a little bit heaping, so it's less than 1/3 cup, but I would say it's a heaping 1/4 a cup. A lot of people don't know this, but applesauce is actually a great substitute for fats in baking. We have 3/4 a cup of Vermont maple syrup. I love this stuff. It's going to be delicious. The maple syrup is going to be our sugar substitute in this recipe today. It's a form of sugar, but it's not refined. We have our flax egg. Today we're using 2 flax eggs. These are super, super easy to make. You take 2 tablespoons of ground flax meal and add 6 tablespoons of water. Mix it up and let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then you get this really almost gel-like substance. And that's what we're gonna be using for our egg substitute. Our vanilla extract. Again, I don't usually recommend flavoring. Go for the extract if you can. Next, we have our spices. Here I have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon nutmeg, a pinch of ground cloves, and a pinch of salt. I also went ahead and added the 1 teaspoon of our baking soda. So we have all of our spices and dry ingredients aside from our flour in one little container, just to make it efficient. Then getting to the fun stuff, Maker's Mark. No, this is not an advertisement. My family just loves this stuff. All right, we're gonna be using 1 tablespoon of that. Then we have our flours. Here's where it gets really fun, kind of science-y. We're using 3 different flours today. We're using 1/2 a cup of almond meal, which is ground almonds. We're using 3/4 a cup of oat flour, which is ground oats, and 1/8 cup of coconut flour, which is ground up dried coconut meal. These are great flour substitutes. First of all, you get some really great healthy fats from the almond meal and the coconut flour. Secondly, the oat flour itself is super high in soluble fiber, so it's really good for your digestive system, and just in general, fiber is like a good thing. You should be eating fiber, right? So let's sneak it into our banana bread. Coconut flour and oat flour are really absorbent. If we're gonna be using them in our recipe, we need to add extra liquid. Thus, we have the maple syrup, we have the extra applesauce, an extra egg, flax egg, and a little bit extra coconut oil to give us a lot of good liquids. All right, so we have our chopped pecans, 3/4 a cup, just a rough chop. You kind of want pieces about 1/3 of a size of a pecan, just as a rough guesstimate. So not too finely chopped, just roughly chopped. And you want them raw. Last but not least, our vegan dark chocolate chips. The ones I'm using today are by Lily's. I adore them. There's no sugar added. They're sweetened with stevia, or is it stevia? Does anybody know? If you guys know, comment below. Is it stevia or stevia? I have no idea, but they're delicious. So we're gonna be using 3/4 a cup today. All right, that's everything. Let's bake. You wanna preheat your oven to 350. The great thing about this recipe, like in our other episode, it's all made in one bowl. We're starting with our defrosted 4 super ripe bananas. Again, they don't need to be defrosted. I just had frozen ones ready to use. But again, everything in one bowl. So we have our wooden spoon, We have our bowl. Let's go. First, I'm gonna add my coconut oil. I'm gonna pour that in. If you're using regular bananas that have never been frozen, go ahead and mash them before you add the oil. In my case, as you're gonna see with my spoon, they're really easily gonna mix up with this oil. They're super, super soft. All right, so we're gonna mix up our oil into our bananas. Do you see how easily these bananas are kind of mixing into the oil? It's because when they're defrosted, they get really soft. Bananas are great to freeze because you can use them for so many different things. So I'm just gonna take about a minute and a half to really mix up our coconut oil and our bananas. Ooh, I can smell the coconut oil mixing with the banana. It's just delightful. All right, you're really gonna wanna keep mixing to get it really incorporated. See how it's kind of thickening almost? That's a good sign. Look at that, go, okay. All right, so it looks like my coconut oil is getting a little bit hard as it changes temperature, as it touches the bananas, which were a little cooler. That's fine, we just need it mixed in. It's all gonna melt in the oven anyways, so that's not really an issue. Again, this is the easiest recipe ever. It's all in one bowl. You just need to mix it all. The only time you need to be careful with mixing is when you put in your flours because you don't want to overbeat your flours. All right, now we're gonna put in our maple syrup. Look at that. Yum, yummy. All right, we're gonna go ahead and stir this. Yum. Oh, the smells are incredible. I wish you could smell this. And if you're at home making it, you can smell yours and you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, next we're gonna add our applesauce. All right, I'm just gonna again stir it on in there. Every once in a while, I'll scrape down the sides of the bowl, scrape around the sides, and then stir. Okay, next I'm gonna add my 2 flax eggs. They're a little kind of jelly-like, which I'll give it to you, looks a little bit odd, but this is actually a great sign. It's become our egg, right? It's really become this substance that will hold together our bread. Okay, I'm gonna take my spoon, get it out of there. Another really great thing about making a vegan recipe like this is you don't need to worry about raw egg or getting raw egg on your cutting board or dealing with raw egg where you have to be really careful. Everything here you could eat as is. I wouldn't recommend it. It's gonna probably taste a little strange texture-wise, but it's all super, super natural and it's gonna come together beautifully. All right, next we're gonna do our vanilla. We're gonna do 1 teaspoon of our vanilla extract. Here we go. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. All right, mix that in. Again, mix hard. Don't worry about technique until we get to the flours. Just really go for it. Okay, next we have our spices and our baking soda, which is mixed in with all our spices and our salt. I just put them in all together. Boom, throw them in. Make sure you get everything. Good. Sometimes if you pre-measure your baking soda and your spices, the only thing you want to make sure is you get everything out of the little container when you put it in, because you do not want to leave any of your baking soda or baking powder in the little cup. You want to make sure it all gets into your batter. Oh, the smells here are incredible. Oh, just incredible. I'm getting a nice cinnamon, clove. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. I'm so excited to eat this. All right, now moving on, we're gonna add our bourbon. The arguably best part of this delicious, delightful healthy dessert-like substance. Ooh, a little extra. You know what? It's good for you, as long as you're over 21. All right, now we're gonna incorporate that into our batter. Beautiful. Okay, here's where we're going to add our flours. All right, all of our flours are in here, and we're gonna add it a little bit at a time. As you see, I'm no longer stirring. I'm folding our flours in to the rest of the wet ingredients. All right, I'm gonna add the rest of the flours. Okay, that's everything. So this is the only part where you don't wanna over stir and toughen up your batter. I know that's really an issue primarily with wheat and wheat flours. Obviously, we're not using any of those today. However, I don't want to take my chances, and when it comes to mixing in flours anyways, I kind of like to do this technique like an oar, right? I'm not stirring, I'm folding. And every once in a while, I'm scraping around the sides. As I said, the oat flour, the coconut flour, really hyper absorbent, which is why we had the maple syrup, we had the applesauce, we had the extra coconut oil, and the extra flax egg. And when I say extra, I'm saying when you're comparing to the other recipe that's not vegan. This is going to give us enough juices so that our flours don't dry out our cake today. All right, now we're gonna do the most fun part. We're going to mix in our chopped pecans and our vegan chocolate chips. And basically, life will be better as soon as I do this. Like, if you're going through a rough time, I don't think you can get better than this right here, because it is probably my favorite mixture of flavors ever. Nuts, chocolate, you can't go wrong. Here we go. This is the best part. You get to mix in the mix-ins. Here we go. Yes, winning. Winning. Let's be honest, this is like the best thing you can eat in the entire world. All right, just a few folds. That was like, what, 3 or 4, and we're done. They're mixed in. We're just gonna set this aside, grease our pan, and by then, the oven should be ready to go. Here is our 4x8 loaf pan. Beautiful. I've put a dollop of coconut oil in it, and we're just gonna use our fingers, get a little dirty, and move it around, grease the pan. I would say this is about a tablespoon. It's probably a little bit on the excess end of what we need, but it doesn't really matter. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So you wanna just take your fingers like you would with a pat of butter and get all the crevices. Look at that. See, and the great thing about coconut oil is it melts really easily. So even though it was a solid a few seconds ago, it's reacting off of my body temperature to melt the coconut oil so I can easily spread it. It's actually kind of awesome. Butter doesn't quite melt as well as this. All right, now I'm just gonna make sure we get every little part of the pan. You don't want any sticking. Like I said, if there's a little extra, no big deal, just it'll come off when you wash your hands. All right, here we have our batter, our loaf pan. All right, here we go. I'm just gonna scoop it in, dump it in the pan. Oh, this looks so good. Look at all those chocolate chips. I'm telling you guys, your minds are gonna be blown. Honestly, this is a really great recipe to make, not only for yourselves, because it is a healthier version of a pretty indulgent recipe. So you can eat this with a little bit more knowledge that you're doing your body good, but also it does make a great gift for friends and family who maybe are watching their glycemic intake or have celiacs or are vegan. I mean, it's just a nice recipe to have when you want to eat something super yummy, but know that you're enjoying quality ingredients. All right, here we go. This is all ready. Let me check on the oven and see where we're at. Oh, 330. We're 20 degrees away. All right, as soon as it gets there, I'm going to pop this in. Now, here's the good part about this batter. Unlike a batter that has raw egg, you can actually try this one. So I'm going to try it. Yep. Like I said, oh, there's our oven. Like I said, you could eat this raw. Yep. You could just eat this raw, and like life would be good. I'm all about this right now. So I'm not even gonna bake the cake. I'm just gonna sit here and eat the rest of this. All right, let's put it in. This here. All right, I'm gonna set the timer for 40 minutes, because even if we put it in here for 45 or 50, I always want to check 5 or 10 minutes before it should be done. All right. Set the timer for 40 minutes. Let's see what this bad boy looks like in 40 minutes. We're going to leave it in for another maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah, let's see. Set the timer for 4 minutes. We want it to be a little bit more golden brown on the top. If you watch my channel, you know when it comes to baked goods, I'd much rather underbake a little bit than overbake an item and totally kill it and dry it out. Everything in here, as you saw earlier, you can eat raw. I'm baking it a little longer just to get a nice golden, gorgeous color on top. Then I'm gonna take it out. Check back with you in a couple minutes. We'll see where we're at. All right, here's our beautiful cake. Look at this. Now I call it a quick bread, but let's be honest, this is more like a cake. Look at that gorgeous golden brown. That's the color I was talking about. Getting that nice kind of caramel color on the crust, beautiful. Here you can see it's a little wet. That's from a dollop of coconut oil that probably melted right on the top there. That's why it's a little shiny. But yeah, you can do the finger test where you delicately touch the top, and if it bounces back, you know it's done. If it's super, super soft, it's not, but if it has a nice bounce back, see how that bounces back? That usually means you're good. It is gonna bake a little bit, even though it's out of the oven, since it's in this metal pan. It's gonna take a while to get to room temperature. All right, we're gonna let it cool for about 10-15 minutes. Then we're gonna flip it on to a baking rack to let it cool the rest of the way. So this has been cooling for about 20 minutes. Now we're gonna flip it on to our rack, our cooling rack, so it'll cool the rest of the way there. All right? So this is still hot, but I can touch it with my hands. If not, just put your mitts on. All right, you're gonna put it upside down with the little feet up. And then you're gonna grasp it with one hand. The other hand, I have a mitt here because the bottom's still hot. And very quickly, boom, like that. Gently take it off. There you go. I'm gonna put a second cooling rack, and we're gonna flip it again. 1, 2, 3, boom. There we go. Now it's gonna stay like this and cool. We'll come back, cut it, see how it tastes. Here is our vegan bourbon pecan chocolate chip banana bread. I'm like dying to try this. This is a very, very rich banana bread. Oh my goodness, do you see this? Wow. Wow, 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 wow. We have little bits of chocolate chips everywhere and pecans, which is like exactly what you want, right? We have a nice brown caramelized crunch on the outside and the bottom, but then this inside is so moist. Okay, here I'm gonna try it. If my husband is nice, I might let him have some. Oh my God. Oh my God. The sweetness from the banana, the decadence of having the almond meal and the coconut flour. It's also rich in flavor with the cloves and the cinnamon. Oh yeah. It almost tastes like French toast. Like crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside. The pecans. Oh man, this is awesome. I'm glad I didn't take it out sooner. You still want it to come together and bake, right? You don't want it to be totally undercooked in the middle. This is just awesome. This is just absolutely awesome. All right, I don't think my husband's gonna get any. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, share, and see you next time on Mara Makes. It's all gone. So I wanted to make it again, except this time, change it. Do what you ask. Sorry. All right, ready, all right.